Hey, this is Bert Brocker, head coach of Texan Buick and GMC, and I'm proud to bring you the Tailgate from Texan Plaza. That's right, at the all-new Turner Stadium. And this year, it's going to be hosted by the one and only from 610 Sports Radio, Mr. Shaun Lopez.
All right, we are here again, the Tailgate at Texan Plaza, as we are every week, and this is a big show. This is our last show of the season with Texan Plaza, and Texan Buick GMC brings it to us every week. Of course, Bert Brocker is here. We're going to get to the fine folks from Memorial Hermann Northeast Hospital in just a second, but setting up the show, we have a very good show for you tonight, of course. Bert Brocker, like I said, we're going to talk to some of these cats back here. This is Kingwood Advanced Audio Video Department. They've been helping us all year with this show. A lot of guys doing a lot of hard work. We're going to talk a little bit about that. How about Oilers legend Dan Pastorini, who I got to know, I've known for a while and got to know even better as I did his book this week, this year, which is coming out in the next week. It's called Taking Flak, My Life in the Fast Lane, and Dan Pastorini will be here. Texans Cheerleaders are here. They've got a lot of events. Vanessa and Mackenzie are their friends of ours. We'll talk to them as well. Of course, the team of the week is going to be Summer Creek Dance, and we're going to have all sorts of things for you today right here at the Tailgate at Texan Plaza, as we do every year. I want to start first with Bert Brocker, our last show of the year. I want to congratulate you on a great thing. Of course, we've got the plaza right there with your name on it, but it's turned into exactly what you hoped it would be, didn't it?
Yes, sir, it absolutely has. You know, we're heavily involved in the community up here, and and that's tonight's guest, the first guest on the show. They're from Memorial Hermann, which is up here on the northeast side, and and it's just a great thing with what they do for the school district, what we do for the school district, and really we got a lot of other great businesses up here that support our community. And going to stick it off right here.
Yeah, let me do introductions. Dr. Shaun Weaver in sports medicine over at Memorial Hermann. Thanks for coming here, and Dr. Charlie Gnaim joining us as well. But yeah, Dr. Weaver with sports medicine. I know you have some questions for him.
Absolutely. Dr. Weaver, tell us a little bit about y'all's involvement with the sports medicine program up here in the Elmo Independent School District.
Sure. Well, I'm one of the team physicians for the school district along with my colleagues, and we provide basically a full spectrum medical care for the student athletes. We do that in a number of ways. We're here at Friday Night Football and other sporting events. We go out to the training room at the individual high schools. And we work very directly with the athletic trainers at each of the schools.
So y'all are heavily involved with the kids then?
Oh, absolutely.
Let me ask you a little follow-up on that before we get to Dr. Gnaim. I deal in sports every day of my life. Dan Pastorini is going to be joining us. And when he played, he had 12 concussions, and we're going to talk about that. The era that he played in and the era now, it's so important. I mean, concussions is that the number one priority if you had to prioritize some of the sports-related, especially in football injuries?
Well, it's definitely on the forefront now. It's in the news. It's out there, and it's something that's on everyone's mind.
And you have a program here, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. We have a protocol in place, and we take every head injury seriously. So something that we see, higher prevalence in football and collision sports. So it's something that we're definitely looking out for.
One of the great things about having a sponsorship like Memorial Hermann involved in the community, and Bert Brocker and all the sponsors, is cardiovascularly, if I can say that. You do have equipment on all these sites. Is that correct? Tell me some of the things you're doing as in that regard with your specialty.
Well, what our group has set up, my group's with the Cardiovascular Association. We've had a great relationship with the Memorial Hermann Northeast Hospital, and one of the scary things that's been happening in sports, starting in middle school and all the way up to professional, has been what we call or term sudden cardiac death, where unfortunately oftentimes there is no warning sign, and the first warning sign or the first symptom is just death. So what we've set up is a screening program for student athletes starting in middle school and through high school for all athletes in the Humble ISD district. We've set up days where these students can come in, and we basically screen them for these potentially life-threatening conditions.
And the one that I recall, and I think is probably the headline one, would be Hank Gathers back in the 90s playing basketball at Loyola Marymount, collapsed on the court, and that was it. So you talk about screening. Young athletes, little pee-wee football, etc. Are there any other signs besides the actual screening, shortness of breath, that type deal?
No, that's a great question, and there are. So those who are fortunate enough to have some symptoms prior to actually potentially having a life-threatening event, the signs and symptoms would be shortness of breath, chest discomfort, and passing out. But these are things that typically occur with exertion. So when they're active in the sports, participating in the sports, that's when these things tend to occur.
Well, we were talking right before the show, and I actually have at home in January. My wife had a 100% blockage and never seen it coming. 46 years old and doesn't look like me. Extremely skinny and works and So you just don't know, and that's the thing. Screening is so important, and I've heard you say that a couple times in there, and it's just important because you never know when it's coming, and these young athletes for sure don't. And you need to, if for any reason you have symptoms of something that doesn't feel right, instead of ignoring it, make sure that you do address it.
All right, before we move on to the next segment here, both of you, a message to parents, things that they should always know, whether it's regarded to sports-related injuries, preventative, and also cardiovascularly. I'll start with you, Shaun.
Sure. Well, I mean, a message for parents, if you're concerned as far as an injury in your student athlete, bring them in and let us check them out. So, I mean, we're there. Absolutely. We're there, and that's what we're there for. We're more than happy to look at them. If it's nothing serious, great. If it is, and, we can absolutely help with that.
What about you, doctor?
I mean, from our standpoint, heart disease is still by far the #1 killer, and the reason for that is, again, oftentimes there is no warning and no initial symptom. So the only way to combat something like that is to prevent, and the only way to prevent is to screen. And so our group, along with Memorial Hermann Northeast, we've set this up for at least twice a year. So I urge parents, please bring your children out. It's a great way to help look and screen for this potentially life-threatening condition.
Fantastic stuff. Thanks for coming out. I'm going to walk around on the tailgate here a little bit now. The tailgate at Texan Plaza. You guys, fantastic job as usual. On my way to the Texans cheerleaders, I'm going to see the ugly guys first. And this would be Mark from. Let me tell you something about these guys. The Kingwood audio video department has been integral with helping us with this show every week, and certainly in the games here. Give me a typical game day experience for your group. And this isn't like just guys with a bunch of camera phones either, is it?
No, John, it's not. Generally on a game day, we'll get ready about an hour before the game. We'll meet upstairs in the video booth. We'll assign jobs, and we'll perform our jobs throughout the day. We have professional-level cameras that we use out on the fields filming the football game.
And you have HD cameras, you have instant replay. It's an entire production up there, isn't it?
Yes, it is, John.
Give me some of the things that are challenges, because don't you go out and you've been doing some of the audio and video for us, for our show, haven't you?
Yes, we have some of the challenges that we generally encounter. Trying to get interviews with certain people, getting the right shot is a lot of the hard stuff to do. But in the end, it just takes practice, John. I mean, like anything else.
I sure appreciate it. John, they're very good. All right, let's get to the pretty girls now. Let's leave Mark alone here. Hey, guys. These are really good friends of mine. Go figure, right? Texans cheerleaders. We have Vanessa and we have Mackenzie, and you guys have had a very good season. Let me talk about football first. It's a lot easier on everyone when the team is winning, and the team is winning. Vanessa, tell me about just the energy you guys have had this year.
Well, from a cheerleader standpoint, it's definitely exciting. I mean, we support our boys no matter what, win or lose, but we know that they've always been good, so now the public gets to see how great they are. So really excited, and it's definitely been a fun season so far. Playoffs, people talking playoffs is exciting for us, very exciting.
I got news for you, Mackenzie. I know you're a rookie, but if they go to the Super Bowl, they usually take their cheerleaders with them. That'll be quite the experience. But tell me about just walking into that stadium for the first time.
Oh my goodness, it was so exciting, especially walking into the first real season game. So much crowd energy going on. It was a lot of excitement, so I was really honored.
And we at Sports Radio 610, and of course here at the tailgate at Texan Plaza, have a lot of fun with the Texans, and we support them, and certainly we know what they do in the community, and that's what I was going to ask you next, Vanessa. Bulls and Birdies is a big event. I know you just had the salute to the military, but Bulls and Birdies is a big event. Tell us about some of the things there and where people can go to be a part of that.
Well, it's going to be November 16th. You can go to HoustonTexans.com to register. Go register. I mean, it gets sold out every year. I know you've been there in the past, so it's a pretty popular event. You get to play golf with cheerleaders, and you get to participate in our calendars. So we're giving out calendars to all the participants, and you get to autographs and take pictures with all 33 members of the team.
So what kind of game do you have? Golf game, Mackenzie?
No, you know, I can drive about 100 and 150 yards. So.
Are you serious? You can play?
I haven't actually played a game, but I've gone to the driving range. It's a lot of fun.
That's fantastic. Did you play last year?
I did. A couple of nice people let me hit, but I wasn't very successful like Mackenzie.
I wonder why they were so nice. Hey, real quick, you've got a great event coming up. Going to Tokyo, I'm presuming Tokyo, you told me Japan, for the military. And I know we've talked in the past, that probably is the most important thing you guys do, you personally, as a cheerleader, isn't it?
Yeah, this will actually be my 4th tour going to Japan. NFL Japan will get to participate with cheerleaders in Japan, teach them routines, get them excited, and then we'll actually be joined with Minnesota Vikings cheerleaders and also the Atlanta Falcons. So it won't only be us, but we'll also be there supporting the troops, and it's definitely life-changing. Actually, being able to sit down, eat lunch, dinner, breakfast, everything with the soldiers is, I mean, it's extraordinary. It's life-changing. It truly is.
You guys are fantastic. Thanks for coming by. I know you have busy schedules. This is Vanessa and Mackenzie.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Right here. Don't go anywhere. Dan Pastorini, an Oilers legend who knows a thing or two about getting to the postseason, is going to join us right here on the tailgate at Texan Plaza. Back right here at Texan Buick GMC Plaza, TexanPlaza.com for all of you. By the way, go to TexanPlaza.com if you want to see some of these interviews, if you want to make suggestions for maybe teams of the week, talk of the tailgate, because this isn't a one-time deal. We'll be doing this all the time with Bert Brocker from Texan Buick GMC. Joining us now, right now, Dan Pastorini, former Oiler great and all-around good guy, and I know that personally because we collaborated on a book. I've known Dante for a long time, but collaborated on a book, and it's fantastic. We're going to get to the book. Thanks for joining us, first of all.
Thanks for having me, John. It's nice to be out here.
All right, get to the book in a little bit, but let's talk about this team because you are an analyst of the game and a big fan of the Texans. We have to start with what the Texans are doing. You know, they're winning for the first time. And Bert, I know you want to ask him a couple of questions too, but let's talk about Texans here, the winning edge. You went, and we were just talking off camera, you went 1-13 twice. Yep. Then you went and had the best record a Houston professional team has ever had. What's the difference outside of the obvious personnel?
Well, you know, it's all personnel and attitude, too, a lot of times. Back in 1972 and 73, we went back-to-back 1-13 seasons. It was the most miserable time of my life. And then, you know, lo and behold, 5 years later, we have, you know, Earl Campbell come in. We have the Love You Blue era kickoff. And 78 and 79, we go to the AFC Championship back-to-back. So it was the worst of times and best of times. This year, you know, the Texans have a little bit of that Oilers swagger, I like to call it, in that they got somebody in there that knows what they're doing on defense, and that's, you know, Wade Phillips. And, you know, Gary Kubiak has his ties to the Love You Blue guys because he was my ball boy in San Angelo, and I followed his career, you know, at his high school and A&M and throughout his career in Denver. And, you know, he's just a great guy, and he's a good head football coach. He's got a great offensive mind. So the defense needed to step up from last year, and by them getting Wade, I knew they were going to be a top defense. And, you know, we have a little bet with Greg Cook. You know, so, you know, I just think that's the thing. You know, they're a 3-4 defense is a very difficult if you have the right personnel, and the Texans kind of had better personnel for a 3-4 than they realized. And, you know, Mario Williams did an exceptionally good job stepping in from being a defensive end and coming in and playing outside linebacker. He did a great job until he got hurt. You know, now they've got